Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about cyclothymic disorder. Now, cyclothymic disorder is one type of bipolar disorder. We're not going to talk about all of these types, but I'm going to give you a glimpse of meaning of all those five bipolar disorder. Number one is bipolar. It involves periods of severe mood episodes from mania, the higher one, and down to the depression side. Bipolar 2 is a milder form of mood elevation involving milder episodes of mania that alternate with periods of severe depressions. Number 3 is cyclothymia disorder. Describes brief periods of hypomanic symptoms alternating with brief periods of depressive symptoms that are not as extensive or as long-lasting as seen in full hypomanic episodes or full depressive episodes. And number 4 is the mixed features. It refers to the occurrence of simultaneous symptoms of episode mood polarities during manic, hypomanic, or depressive episode. Now, the rapid cycling is the last the last type of bipolar disorder is the term that describes having 4 or more mood episodes within the period of 12 months. Now we're not going to talk about these five types of bipolar, but we're just going to concentrate on cyclothymic disorder. Cyclothymic disorder is a rare bipolar disorder that we don't really talk about, though it's already been recognized since 1880s. And cyclothymia or cyclothymic disorder cause mood changes from emotionally high to feeling low, as we have talked about the meaning just now. Now, to be diagnosed with cyclothymia disorder, you cannot have this animanic or hypermanic or depressive episode as we have said just now. And people with CDs, cyclothymic disorder, have a chronic mood symptoms, but there are not even enough of them to be, and they are not even severe enough, or they don't last long enough to be categorized as a mood episode. Kind of confusing? Now, we are going to watch this graph of X, but we're just going to tackle 3 types of bipolar disorder in this graph. So, as we've seen in this baseline, this is the baseline and this is the line of euthymia. Now, this bottom line is the depression line. Now, this top line of in euthymia is the hypomania, and the last one, the upper one of emotions, really high top of on our head, is the mania. Now, the first in this graph, we're going to see the first line episode of bipolar. Bipolar 1, from this baseline of euthymia going up, not on the hypomania, but higher than the mania. And after that feeling, it will goes down to the bottom of depression and going back to euthymia, the baseline, the normal mood. Now, the second episode that we're going to see is the bipolar 2. Bipolar 2 is from this baseline euthymia going up, not on the mania, but on the hypomania only, and going down to the bottom. You see the difference? The bipolar 1 goes up to the mania, but the bipolar 2 goes up only to hypomania. And they both goes down to the bottom of depression and going back to the normal. Now, the third type of bipolar depression is the cyclothymia. Cycle means alternating. See, from the feeling of from this baseline, the normal side of the emotion euthymia, going up to hypomania, not even going up. And then after that kind of feeling we're not going to last long, but it will go down to depression, but not really to the bottom side of the depression. And then it will going up again to the hypomania and then goes back to the normal. So this kind of cycle is, this kind of mode is really not that not not really like it's always alternating and not really stays in there. One actress has described it this way. She described it really well. And emotions that change really quick, and emotions that change really fast, and that alternates to each other. Now, we ask, what's the causes? Not one. But there's probably a genetic link because cyclothymia, depression, and bipolar disorder are all tend to run in the families. In some people, traumatic events or experience may act as a trigger of that condition, such as severe illness or a long period of stress. Though the rates of cyclothymia and other bipolar disorders in children and adolescents are not really well established, the National Institute of Mental Health reports that the rate of cyclothymia is approximately 1% in children and as high as 3% in adolescents. And onset is a typical in late childhood side to the early adulthood will it come out. Now, male and females are affected equally often, but they said that mostly females often ask for medical help most of the time. So right now we're going to watch for a clips of how really a person, the experience of episode of the person during the cyclothymic. Now, watch.
A pleasant rush. Suddenly you become braver, more confident. You're full of ideas, moving on from one to another in seconds. Your mind goes faster than your body. You can go on without rest for days and then fall asleep for a couple of minutes thinking it was hours. Completely lose track of time. You feel like a goddess, but you already know that there will be a price to pay. You hit rock bottom where the waters are pitch black. You didn't sleep for days and now you sleep all day. Days become indistinguishable, just heaviness filling your mind and spilling all over your body. You continue to back away and destroy relationships. You are ashamed for everything you've done and everything you haven't. It is the altitude difference that hurts the most. Jumping off the cliff of joy into the dark waters of depression. You're forever regretful of the past and always anxious of the future. You finally realize you can't go on that way, and two things can happen. You either decide to get help or you might attempt a suicide.
I hope you learned a lot in this videos, in this presentation. Now, thank you for listening. This is Alma.